Welcome to Kikiriki Talks.
Bonjour.
Kamarjoba.
Kikiriki Talks. Let's kiki about Kikiriki.
Bok. Welcome to Kikiriki Talks episode 10.
It's a milestone, you guys.
Happy birthday to us.
Yeah.
We're 5 months old.
Yeah, we're old Kikirikis.
I'm Anna.
And I'm Caroline.
And today we will talk about vacations and holiday destinations in our countries. So Caroline, do you get a lot of tourists in Paris?
Oh my god. Oh, you prepared that, right? Well, you literally can't walk in the street. No, but let's not talk about that. Let's talk about what the population of our country do for holiday vacation. Do people travel a lot, like Georgian people?
Well, just started that most of the population, or like a big percentage of population, started traveling outside of the country, because a few years ago we got this thing called visa liberalization from European Union. Can travel to Europe, not only EU, except Ireland and UK, but it happened before Brexit. And we can travel to Europe for 3 months.
Without visa?
Without visa. In every 180 days. After that, a lot of cheap airplane companies arrived in Georgia, like Ryanair and Wizz Air. And in the first year, everything was so cheap. The flights were really nothing because it was like new on market. That's how it happens. That so many people just traveled to Europe with not a lot of money, you know. It was quite cheap. It was the same as like going for a vacation in Georgia for like 10 days. Yeah. But you could travel in Europe for like 7 days for that price. And people were going to in Budapest and then taking the bus and going all the way in the region and also seeing other countries and then coming back. So yeah, I can say that right now in the past few years before COVID, it started to really happen. Students could afford it. Friend groups were going there. Families who have like never been to outside of Georgia before that, they started to go. Even for the people my age, even though around me a lot of people have traveled, my course mates, it's mostly because of their like scholarships and stuff like that. But for other people who go to Europe, it's tourism just to see another country. And honeymoons are also, after visa liberalization, it became a really big thing, but it was even a big thing to go to Europe for honeymoon even before that.
Yeah, well, it makes sense, I think.
Paris is the number one destination.
I know every hotel in Paris has like that one very pretty room for newlyweds. Yeah, newlyweds. I mean, I guess it's romantic. It is pretty. I mean, the whole Europe, I can see the whole honeymoon vibe.
You can,
Yeah. We French people travel quite a lot. I should not be, but I'm still like often surprised when I hear about visa issues, because I grew up kind of free of those problems. No matter where you go, if it's in EU, like if it's in Schengen, it's not even a question. So, and I traveled mostly in Europe. I almost never had to ask for any visa in all of my travel. With US, it's the same. Like if you're like from Europe, it's really easy to get some visa to the US. And it's not that expensive. I don't exactly remember. It was in 2014 when I went. But it was not a issue. It was just taking a bit of time, but I was not like wondering if I would get it or not, which is like very stress-free, you know. I also went to Vietnam. I would say US and Vietnam are like the places the furthest from France I've ever been. And Vietnam, you have free visa if you stay less than 14 days. And I even heard that for Asia, I believe you can stay something like 1 month in Thailand. And then you just actually have to like cross the border to go somewhere else. And when you come back, then you can renew your 1 month there. So it's like very easy. You don't have to go back home and wait for some times or anything. There are a lot of European backpackers who spend months in the whole Southeast Asia. It is quite safe and affordable, so and beautiful. Vietnam was absolutely gorgeous. But and also I was telling you earlier that I feel like wherever I go, no matter how far from home I am, I will always hear French in the streets. French people speaking, which is a bummer. I don't know. I go to be like in another like mindset. I want to leave all of my Frenchness behind me. I don't know, whatever, but I can't escape it. We are literally everywhere. But when I actually did research about what were like the average French person holiday vacation, it was mostly inside of France actually, and it's for a few nights, not the whole week. It's just, you know, average. Camping is a big thing. Go inside of France for 2 to 3 nights in camping, and we have very diverse landscapes. We have Brittany, who is kind of northwest. It is very, very beautiful. Like the sea is really beautiful, and we have very strong identity with architecture and cuisine. You cannot like mistake that for anything else. It is quite touristic. And then if you go under Brittany, you have Vendée, which is like actually the most touristic region of France because it's cheaper than French Riviera and warmer than Brittany. It is kind of that good in between. So it is very, very popular. It's like on the Atlantic Ocean. And then if you go a bit south, you have Bordeaux and Les Landes. And if you want to surf, it's amazing. Like we have a lot of good surf spots, which is like also very unique. You can really do everything. So you can surf, you can tan. So there's that. The cuisine in Southwest is like really amazing. It's one of the most famous and loved, I would say. You know, with a lot of ducks. Duck food like foie gras and we cook potatoes in duck grease. It's like really delicious. And wine. The wine is amazing.
Oh yeah. I've heard.
Well, let's do kind of a Tour de France. So if you go even more south, you are like next to Spain. Spain is also a big destination for French people. But we have the Pyrenees mountains, which are like very cool. It's kind of mountain and countryside. Very hot, very beautiful nature. We have huge forests in the middle of France with old volcanoes and great water. In winter you can ski there. Well, then if you go southeast, you of course have French Riviera, very, very popular. Saint-Tropez, Marseille, all of that on the Mediterranean. And it's really very beautiful and also very popular, and like the water is, I don't know, the sea and the sun, and it's like amazing. We have Alp mountain where you can ski. And then if you cross, you're in Italy or Switzerland. It's also nice. Switzerland's super expensive though, but it's nice. Also have Alsace, the region next to Germany. Well, it has this very, very beautiful architecture. You can see the wood on the houses, and it's like very typical. And very pretty. I know what you're in Strasbourg. And a lot of flowers, and you have some cute river, and like it's very, very beautiful. They also have their own cuisine, their own wine. You're not far from Champagne, where you can you can drink champagne. Champagne is very specific to that place because soil is very grayish, which is why champagne is more like mineral. It tastes like that because of that. And then other France, well, you have beer and waffles, and you're close to Belgium, and it's cool too. Belgium is cool. I mean, I would say you have so much to do inside of France, and especially now with the whole pandemic and the whole issue with testing and flying and everything. Most people want to travel inside of France. And I also heard that they book bigger houses than usual because they want to gather with people they didn't see for a long time. So they do a big vacation in one big house.
Local tourism has always been a thing in Georgia because people were not traveling outside of it that much before recent years. For example, for my family, most of the years, but not every year, we would go to the seaside and stay there for like 7 or 10 days. And you would always rent a room in a guest house because most of the middle class families were doing that. It was really like surprising to stay in a hotel. You just go there, find a house. There is like a landlady.
Oh, you don't book beforehand?
There used to be a point where you would just go there and walk around the city and ask around prices and everything and then find a room.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember this one time I was 4 or 5 and we went and we were walking around the whole day and we couldn't find anything. Oh. And I think after that you just find it on the internet or you know somebody who knows somebody and you have a phone number or something and call. For example, my family, we just liked this one house and we were going there for the 5 years straight. And we were getting discounts because we were coming back and everything. So it's cool. Some of them even offer you food. You just you can only take breakfast or 3 times. And for families it's quite okay because you don't have to cook or anything. You just go there, you just rent a room. There are a bunch of other rooms with a bunch of other families. There is a kind of dining area there most of the times, and you just get to know people who live kind of with you. It was a big thing when I was smaller. We still have some people that we remember. Oh, do you remember that girl? Do you remember that guy that we were hanging out randomly because we were living in the same house?
For how long would you go?
10 days.
Okay.
Yeah, 7 or 10 days. And we were going to the sea together and swimming and stuff. And back then there was no internet or phone or anything, so we would just hang out for 10 days and then never see each other again. I think now most of the families, I think they are still doing that. They're still staying in the guest houses.
Those are professional guest houses?
No, not really.
Just big houses?
Yeah.
And on season they make... Okay.
Yeah. And the whole family who is renting out that also lives there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what is the sea?
Oh, it's a Black Sea.
And how is it?
Oh, it's not that the best sea to swim in, but depends on where you go. Because the biggest seaside city in Georgia right now is Batumi, but it's rainiest place ever. So you go there, the infrastructure is quite good. They have lots of clubs, bars, restaurants, really a lot of stuff to do. And there are a bunch of mountains around it. Botanical garden, we have huge botanical garden there. It's amazing. It's also really close. You go to Batumi, and especially if you're young, it's really cool because you just go around to bars and restaurants and everything. But the actual sea and weather is not that good.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's funny. So usually me and my family, we would always go to this other city that is really close to Batumi. It's called Kobuleti. It's smaller, but the sea is better there and the weather is better there. I remember when we used to go to Kobuleti, you can see Batumi from there, from the coast, and it would be always under the cloud, and we would be and it's 1 hour of difference, not even an hour.
Wow, there's some kind of microclimate or something.
Yeah. Near Batumi there is this big mountain, and we called it a crying mountain because it gets the most amount of humidity during the year, and because of that mountain and everything, it rains a lot there.
How the hell did it become the biggest seaside city?
Oh, it has a really beautiful old city, but now it has expanded a lot. I have been to Batumi so many times, but last year was the first time I really went to the old city and looked around and saw really low buildings and completely different architecture and everything. So our third president, he was an eccentric person. He would just be oh, I love this place, I'm gonna make it famous. And he was I love Batumi, I like it, it has a great potential. And he did change a lot of in the infrastructure, and he really did a lot to promote the city. So it really worked, and now new buildings are popping up in Batumi every day. And it's expanding a lot.
Kind of ugly building because they have to be done fast and have most people. Actually, we have that too.
We have those too, but we have some hotels, expensive apartment buildings that look kind of in the modern terms, nice. There is one that looks like a wave.
Oh, okay. They're still trying.
Yeah. Okay. It's not I'm gonna throw this building right here just so people can live.
Yeah.
No, because now it's also kind of became a competition. You have to attract your tourists.
That's funny, oh my god, because in France, they were oh my god, people are coming, let's build maximum of apartment in the ugliest way and the fastest way. Yeah. And for example, if you go to Cannes, Cannes is famous, oh my god, glamorous festival, but Cannes is fucking ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they literally built buildings the closest to the sea with small apartments, so you can have a huge turnover of people coming and most people can fit.
Oh,
and it's really not cute. And in Vendée, you know, I told you, very popular.
Yeah.
It is like that, but it is like that since the 70s. And so it has this charm of super 70s building.
Yeah.
Probably not objectively pretty, but the nature is beautiful. And it has this round shape, and every blinds on the balcony, they are all the same color for each building. So you have the blue one, the orange one, and it has really like something. But French Riviera, not cute, really not.
For example, for Batumi, those like weird buildings have now become staple. Because whenever we do like a promotion of the cities and there is some marketing that shows the landscape or the city, those weird buildings are always there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have this huge tower that has a spiral like a DNA and a big ball on the top. And it has our alphabet written on the DNA.
Cool.
And then you can go up there with the elevator. You can see the whole city from that.
Cool.
Yeah.
And those are recent?
Like last 10 years. Okay, 15.
Do you have some Soviet architecture next to the sea that stayed there and like like, I guess?
Most of the buildings that were not built in the last 20, 30 years are Soviet architecture.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, this is like Soviet or something. It's just there.
Yeah, okay.
It's normal. Actually, one of the best regions to go to the sea in Georgia, it's in Abkhazia, the one that is occupied now. I remember my parents and my grandparents would tell me nobody was going to Batumi. Like Batumi was nothing and nobody went there because it was always raining. But in Abkhazia region, it's like mountains and the sea at the same time. So it creates like a special climate. It's always sunny. It's very, very green. The air is clean and fresh and everything. So people were always going there. And when I see pictures from there, it's amazing. And they used to have this like, you know, Soviet sanatoriums and like special hotels that you go and everything included or something.
Oh yeah, those clubs. Yeah.
People used to go there and not to Batumi. But now, for example, me and my friends, we try to go somewhere every summer. We usually just go together. We find the biggest apartment we can and go there. Last year we went to Batumi and it was a complete fail because it was raining like 8 days out of 9. And the year before that we went to this mountainous region called Raja. We rented the whole house, but the landlady was still living there. But yeah, for example, for people my age, if you ask them, they will say that most of their families used to go to the sea for 7 or 10 days. And now that we have our own money and everything, we just go there with our friends.
Yeah.
Mountain tourism, even for the families, is a still big thing. Some people just don't like sea. And most of the Georgian families have like villages outside of the cities. Most of the people have their grandparents there. After you go to the sea for like 7 or 10 days, then you just go to your village and stay there for 3 months.
Yeah,
my
mom used to drop me at my grandparents' house in Brittany. And house, nice grandparents. It's free. Yeah, close to the sea. Like.
Yeah, but the problem with Georgian villages is an infrastructure. We did not have a shower and toilet 2 years before now. For that, especially when you're with kids, it's quite difficult to take care of everything when you also don't have a running water. But it was always fun. It was like kind of part of it. A very little percentage of families don't have villages in Georgia. Usually at least one of your parents has it, so you just go to your dad's village or your mom's or even both, which is like the best. My mom doesn't have any kind of village house in Georgia, so we just go to my dad's side. Some families don't have them at all, so they just go to some village, rent a room and stay there for like a month with all the other families and with the landlady too. And we also have some regions in Georgia that are good for asthmatic people who have problems with the lungs or some other health issues. Those regions are a bit more expensive and some families go there every year. It's like a natural prescription if your child has problems with breathing or anything. At a certain age, if you go there during a spring, summer period, when some special trees are blooming or something.
Oh, it's not about some thermal water or something?
Thermal waters too.
Okay.
But for that case, for the lungs, you just go there. The place is called Abastumani. And when the special trees or pine cones or something, they are blooming, you go there for a few years, 3-4 years, every summer, and then it's so much better.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, the doctors are kind of prescribing it sometimes.
Oh my god. Like it is, we do have like thermal things, but not about like we have sanatorium, but we don't have that one place where nature is literally like curing whatever you have.
Well, it used to now pollution and everything, but...
Oh, it's not working anymore?
I don't have that much information, but it must be worse.
But it reminds me of, you know, the aristocrats in like 19th century who were like prescribed to go to that bougie place. Well, it is bougie.
And that place we used to have, I think maybe we still have a sanatorium for tuberculosis. Because it was like the best place you could be when you have that. Yeah. Also on the seaside, there is one town called Ureki. Usually in Georgia, on like Black Sea, we have stone beaches, but that one has black sand, and it's also really good if you have some kind of bone problems. People usually take the children there who were like born before 9 months or something, so they are like strengthening their bone structure. Because it has magnesium or something.
Some minerals.
Yeah. I remember we went there when I was really, really small, but we were just like all the time just laying in the sand, like only with your head showing, you know.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Yeah, it's cool. And making like black sand castles and everything.
Yeah, I remember when I was really, really small, my mom asked about the pediatrist. Is it okay? Because sometimes, you know, I would go to seaside to my grandparents every summer, every holiday really. And she was like, she eats sand. I mean, I was not eating sand, but sand.
Yeah,
I mean, get in your mouth. You're a small, you're a stupid toddler. You do that. And the doctor was like, well, you know, it's mineral. It's fine. Like, if anything, it's kind of good. So
yeah. Well, in the eastern Georgia, we also have mud baths when you just go to a place and it's just like a bunch of mud.
And it's kind of bubbling, no?
Yeah.
And I've heard about that.
And it's also considered to be good for your health. Yeah.
And good for your skin, like some special clay and everything. Yeah.
And for the thermal waters, you know, we have thermal waters in the middle of Tbilisi. That's why it's called Tbilisi, blah, blah, blah. We know that.
Moving on.
Yeah, so for thermal waters, but we also like especially in the western Georgia and in the mountainous regions, mineral water springs are like everywhere. We have so many mineral water companies. And some of them taste really weird.
Yeah.
But when you go to the place and try, not when you buy it, because it's carbonated. Always it's carbonated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You only drink the actual mineral water when you go to that place, and you always have these kind of fountains when you try them. Some of them are good, some of them are Yeah.
We also have a bunch of sources. Some are good, some are not. Yeah, you know, I was telling you, we have this volcano area, region in the middle of France. It's very green. You can ski, you have the best cheese. And we also have that one super famous water company because of that one source, volcanic water. I'm not mistaken, I don't really like it. It's quite strong.
We love mineral water, big thing, especially after hangover.
I moved out of my parents' place so long ago that I never bothered to buy water since then, so...
Yeah, usually our stomach is feeling kind of weird, or you ate something, or a hangover, we just drink that carbonated mineral water, and then we
really? Is it...
For hangover, yes.
Okay, you really get much better with like that one water, or just good mineral water.
Yeah.
Shall we try?
Yeah.
Well, I also noted that when French people do leave France for vacation, it's mostly to go to South Europe. And like Spain is like the biggest destination. Greece too. I've been to both. But like Greece is like that one summer destination. Italy and Croatia. Croatia this last few years was always named in the list of where do French people go in Europe. Well, no, not even in Europe. If they want to go abroad, they go to Croatia, between Spain and Greece.
Yeah, we've heard so much French in Zadar.
Yeah, in Dubrovnik too. It was empty. I would say like out of the 15 people who were there, half of them were French. Yeah, I'm telling you, no matter where I go, always, literally always. I'm not exaggerating anything for like the beauty of the sentence, like not at all. I've never been to a place and not heard French at some point.
And for me, I have also met like so many French people here.
Well, because volunteers.
Because volunteers, yeah, but
and you know,
by percentage, there's so much
huge.
more French volunteers than any other country, I think.
Well, as usual, we went quite off topic, but it was still interesting.
Yes.
And now I want to go to Georgia.
Now?
I mean, even more. I want to bath and breathe in Georgia.
And swim in the hot water pool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And mud.
Mud. And on this positive note, we should wrap up.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed. You can, as usual, follow us on social media.
Ask questions. Thank you so much for listening.
And please book cool destinations. You deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bok.